Hey, this is the analyzer, Brian Brink, and you are listening to Verbally Challenged.
We got Hell in the Cell coming up in a couple of weeks. So, Brammer, you're always welcome. Paul, of course, you know we're going to do this. So
I'm preparing to be disappointed.
So hopefully that'll be a quick one.
There's going to be an AJ Joe match in there. Just know that'll be a saving grace.
I hate AJ Styles.
Who hates AJ Styles?
Me.
Oh my God! Oh, so we're gonna have to speak about that. We're saying good night. We're saying good night, but we're gonna speak about that. We're gonna put a pin on that one. What's up? Welcome back to Verbally Challenged. I'm HarikenBx, and I got a couple of special guests here with me today. So let's say what's up. First up, from MPSP Theater on Friday nights, the host himself, Nick Brammer. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? Chilling. Happy to be on again. Thank you for having me.
No problem, man. You're welcome anytime. All right, next up, from the Building Up to It podcast, I got Paul C. What's happening?
What's up, guys? Glad to be here. Glad to have Nick on here, too. This will be good.
Yes, welcome back. When people hear Paul's voice, they know what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about some wrestling. This is actually earlier than expected because me and Paul usually get together and discuss the WWE pay-per-views or the NXT pay-per-views that happen every month. So this is a special event, this all-in event that we were like, we got to talk about this. So happy to have you guys on to talk about this special event in independent wrestling.
Definitely, it was a big night for any non-WWE wrestling fan, or I shouldn't say non-WWE, but any fans of things other than just WWE, because it was a really big night and it was a really good show. I was very, very happy with how it all went.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So All In was basically, it was an independent professional wrestling pay-per-view that's been promoted by Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks from Bullet Club. Took place on September 1st, 2018 at the Sears Center in the suburb of Chicago, Hoffman Estates, Illinois. The event actually aired live on a traditional pay-per-view outlet, Fight TV, Honor Club, and was later made available for on-demand viewing on New Japan Pro Wrestling World streaming service. And the event included a 0-hour pre-show, which actually aired on WGN America. So that was free for anybody that had that channel. They actually got to get 2 matches that they got to see for free before the actual pay-per-view event itself. And the event actually featured wrestlers from all the top promotions across North America and even south of the border, top talents from Ring of Honor, CMLL, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, AAA, and NWA, National Wrestling Alliance. So let's get into it. The 0-hour pre-show was, again, like an hour pre-show, which was on WGN America. The first match that kicked off the show was the Briscoe Brothers versus SoCal Uncensored. That's Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky. So what do you guys think about the match if you got to see it?
Did you watch it, Brammer? Did you get to watch the pre-show?
Yeah, I watched it. I watched the whole thing. Yeah, I didn't know Scorpio Sky. I liked his work. I love the Briscoe Brothers. I love how they tag together.
Dude, those guys are they're a phenomenal heel tag team, aren't they? Like they just everything about them, the way that they wrestle, their look, everything. They just look dirty. Like and it works so well for their characters.
They do. Sometimes I'm like, are they really like that? Or is they like playing a gimmick? Like sometimes I can't tell with them,
Yeah, they're super talented, but man, they're great heels.
There was a great spot in that match when the Briscoes went for the Doomsday device.
Oh my gosh, yes. It was incredible.
Yeah. It was Kazarian, right, who jumped through and made it like rolling suplex instead of getting caught.
Like it was Kazarian up on the shoulders, and then they went for the Doomsday device, and then Kazarian caught him in the air. I forgot which Briscoe was jumping, but caught him in the air and basically like turned it into like, I don't even know what you would call it. Just like
almost like a follow-away
power slam.
Yeah, like a follow-away slam onto the mat. Like it was crazy. I mean, I've always loved Kazarian. Since I saw him in TNA back in the X Division days and all that kind of stuff. It's good to see that dude still got it. because this was like you said, it was a hell of a match. I wasn't familiar with Scorpio Sky either, but that dude is talented too, man. That guy is super athletic, and the chemistry between him and Kazarian is great. I like those guys are good, and I think SoCal Uncensored normally has Christopher Daniels too, right? It's another like it's. I don't know what it is about Kazarian and Daniels being in 3-man like faction teams. It just goes over really well with them. They're real good in that kind of like a matchup kind of a thing. Like with 3 people on a team, like they're great.
yeah. If you've kept up on their careers between TNA and Ring of Honor, and now here like an All In and stuff like that, their gimmick on the Indies, they've been together through like a lot of tag teams, like and different names and then different factions, like you said.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Another really cool spot that I liked. Again, it's with Kazarian, so I feel bad to only be singling him out, but like he had again one of the Briscoes, I don't remember which one at this point, in a roll up, I believe, and then it was, oh, you got the wrong guy, and then so he grabs the other one and pulls him into a fisherman suplex, like while still rolling up the other one. It was crazy.
Yeah, that was awesome too.
This is nice. This is usually the kind of action that sometimes you're allowed to kind of see in NXT, but they usually don't even go like as far as these guys are kind of like allowed to go. Like you could see like the cuffs are really taking off these guys on the independent circuit. So
yeah, one of the things that I liked about the show, the show, I'll just say right off the bat, was not what I expected it to be. I thought it was going to be like a crazy G1 style, like G1 tournament style, like where everything's going to be like super high energy, or everything was high energy, but like super technical and just incredible, like 5-6 star matches kind of thing, things that would make Meltzer go nuts with all this stuff. And that wasn't really what this was. All the matches were really fun and really good, but just from the very, very beginning, right when Cody and the Bucks came out, you knew that it was going to be kind of a lighthearted, this is going to be a show that's all about fun. So like in the pre-show, and Brammer, I think you can correct me for the details that I missed here, but like they just came out, they're like, so you guys like pyro? Well, we'll give you some pyro. And then like they're like, oh, did you forget to pay the pyro guy? Like, so it was just fun. Do you guys like merch? Come on out. Everyone from Pro Wrestling Tees and from Hot Topic. And then they were shooting like t-shirt guns. And then every show has got to have, for some reason, an alumni wrestler or whatever. And then out comes an animal on a motorcycle. And then he just left. Like it was a wrestling show made by wrestling fans for wrestling fans. Like I think it was exactly what you wanted it to be if you enjoyed wrestling. There's lots of little things that like you won't necessarily understand the subtlety of it or the reason for it. You just think it's funny, but like when you know little things like that, like you need to have an alumni wrestler come through, like little things like that, like it makes it that much more enjoyable if you are a smart fan or a smart or whatever. Like you know that stuff. Like yeah, they always have that, and they did, and it was great. It was just all done kind of tongue in cheek. This is for you guys. We're gonna just do something that you guys are gonna love, and it really came across well.
And then during the commercial break, after Animal came out, they had him up on stage with them. It just wasn't filmed, so you didn't see it.
I'm looking forward to the DVD to see all the Blu-ray, just to see all the stuff that was missed, and I can't wait to see. Well, we'll talk about this when we get to the end of the show. Like the last, like let's say half an hour that was, I'm sure, unaired, but definitely, hopefully, recorded for the home video.
It's on YouTube.
Awesome.
Yeah. I remember seeing about like maybe 8 or 9 minutes, like in the ring after the main event.
Yeah, it was like 15.
Awesome. Yeah. I look forward to seeing all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so just this match in general, which is so much fun, full of tons of great spots, and then at the end of the match, it was exactly what you would expect from an indie match or from a Ring of Honor match, anything like that. It was just spot after spot after spot, everyone doing their signature moves and their finishers back and forth, and it really helped to get you kind of pumped up for the event and get you kind of in the right mood.
Exactly. You said it right there. Just getting a perfect match to get you pumped up for the rest of the show, and it set the tone for the rest of the show. The Briscoe brothers in the end, they attempted the Doomsday Device, and Kazarian caught Mark in mid-flight, delivered a power slam off Jay's shoulders for the pinfall victory. So SCU got the win there over the Briscoes.
Shadowcast Uncut.
Yep. SCU. We didn't see Daniels there because he's got his own match on the main card coming up. So, definitely cool match right there. The next one up was to determine the number 1 contender for the Ring of Honor World Championship. So this one was aptly called the over budget battle royal.
even with that name, you know what kind of show you're in for, because that's just a brilliant name.
Exactly. Just knowing that it really was a self-financed event. And I remember Cody, I think in an interview saying like he basically had to auction off like every piece of the ring to afford the battle royal and afford some of the finances to put the finishing touches on the event.
Yeah, I mean, like, just all the talent in this battle royal was crazy. Like, there are so many big names in there. Again, big indie names. Like, it was nuts, the people that they had there.
Yeah. And certain, you know, like we said, certain even guys that are like champions and, you know, like Impact and stuff like that. Like, it's great that those companies didn't put the kibosh on like some of these guys like trying to appear, you know. Like, I think it's best for business, you know, to basically just let an event like this happen, because it's probably just better for everybody, you know, and it allows for more cross promotion across the board. Like,
and I think that is actually a very interesting point too. Sorry, Nick. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say they get free promotion just from letting their guys be there.
That's exactly. I think it's funny to see the tactic that WWE goes with it when they were trying to basically like hold some people's contracts and stuff like that, so they wouldn't be available for the show and stuff like that. And to see the difference in that style of management versus kind of the other promotions and how they are a lot. They've loosened things up a little bit and understand the value in the cross promotion, like you said, and overall, like, just to create a better sense, just to enhance the wrestling world and the overall wrestling product amongst everybody. Well, then it creates more of a desire to watch these other shows as well, and it'll bring it to other people's attention. And it's just a very interesting tactic, and how they did it, and to see the difference between that and how WWE does it. Yeah, it's just interesting is the best way I could put it.
I mean, there were a few guys in that battle royal that have like major stories on Impact right now. Like,
it's crazy.
Brian Cage,
like especially like those two they're huge players on Impact, and yet there they were. They did all their big spots like they always do, and everything like that, and they did really, really well. There were a bunch of big names in Ring of Honor in there as well. Like, it was nuts to see all of them working together, and I think it's worth saying that I typically hate a battle royal match when everyone is all in there, because I don't know where to focus. There's just too much going on that I can't handle it. When it gets to be about half the size, that's usually when I start to enjoy it. But this one, they somehow managed to make it. I'm sure I missed a lot, but they managed to make it entertaining all the way through, just by the different things and the different little kind of micro storylines they had going on throughout the whole match. That I always found something interesting to watch. I was just saying.
Yeah.
Tommy Dreamer and the polka dot.
Yeah, that's awesome. Giving tribute to Dusty, you know, some other notable names, you know, Bully Ray was in there, Billy Gunn was in there. Wasn't his son in there too?
Yeah, Austin Gunn.
I for about half the match, again, because there's so much going on, I swore Austin Gunn was Billy Gunn. I didn't realize that it was this different person. Like, I thought maybe he just, because they were calling him Austin Gunn, it didn't dawn on me that he didn't just change his name in the indies or something like that. I had no idea, because he looks like his dad. He acts like his dad in the ring. He's wearing those shorts. Like, everything about it looks just like Billy Gunn. He even has the Billy Gunn hairline. Like, it's crazy.
Shit.
Now, you guys both watched the battle royal?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What do you think about the Hurricane chokeslam spots?
Loved it. I'm a
that's a callback.
Fan, so I love Shane Helms, and to see that and to see it come from, like, it was played off so well, because they were trying, the people that he kept chokeslamming were people that were trying to chokeslam each other, and they kept kicking out of it or getting out of it, and then so he comes in and does his superhero chokeslam, then this pose at the end. I loved it. I totally marked out it, little things like that.
Yeah, it's good stuff. What do you guys think about Jordan Grace? She actually had a female in there that was throwing it down with the guys. Actually, it was pretty impressive.
I like the Dudley Boys headbutt.
That was great.
Yeah.
I was very impressed with all the women that were in this show. And it started with her. Like, she did a good job. Like, it didn't seem like it was pandering to get a female wrestler in there with everyone else. Like, she started doing her own stuff, and she was doing really good stuff. She even like power lifted Brian Cage for a second. Yeah. And Brian Cage, for those of you who aren't familiar with him, he is basically a human He-Man figure. Like, it's nuts. That dude is huge. Like, he is a legit brick house. And she power lifted him up on her shoulders. It was great.
Yep. So cool, some cool spots like that they did there. Like you said, they did the Dudley Boys. What's up? Dreamer was unloading some bionic elbows. You know what I'm saying? Fucking.
My favorite part. Sorry, I'm worried that I'm gonna keep doing this because there were so many spots in this entire show that like, oh yeah, and then there was this, and then there was this. I'll be very ADD about this, and I apologize for that. But my favorite part was Dreamer and Gunn when everybody was doing all these like through the rope like tope like spots and all that stuff, and it was just Dreamer and Billy Gunn in the ring. They jump off they go off of the ropes as if they were going to do the same thing, and then they just climb through the ropes and start elbowing people. It was hilarious, just so funny because those guys can't do a tope through the ropes.
So yeah, in the end, it looked like it was like going to be Bully Ray that was going to win, right? He got a couple of eliminations, but then it looked like he was eliminated by a luchador when he removed his mask. It wound up being Flip Gordon.
Flip Gordon, who like I don't know all the background with him, but I know that he was the whole storyline was that he wasn't able to get into the show, and he was trying to get in the show this whole time, and then and this was going to be like his way to try to do it. And then it was good. I don't know, storytelling is the right word, but they played it off well. While like Bully Ray just powerbombed him through a table at the very, very beginning of the match, and then there was so much chaos that I totally forgot about that dude. Like it was El Hijo de Chico or whatever. I had no idea who that was or whatever he was trying to homage or anything like that. I just forgot all about the skinny luchador that they had. And then all of a sudden he matters. And you're right. He didn't go over the top. He was still an entry in the battle royal. Outstanding in his randomness. I love it.
Yeah, that's a storyline that's played out on also on Being the Elite. So I guess you guys got to just check that out on YouTube. That's the Young Bucks and Cody and the Bullet Club's like show that they do.
Was that specifically for All In, or is that an ongoing thing? Because I didn't know about it until later.
Like 120 episodes into it now.
Yeah, they've done a bunch. You know what I'm saying? So they were just doing it, but they do use it as a platform to carry like storylines on.
I think that's just a really smart way to do it, given that, there's this show, which is basically a one-off, for lack of a better term, I guess. Like, even though there are some storylines that are through the different promotions and stuff like that, and some that are within the promotions themselves. But if there's really no way to put a storyline through, at least that is a way to get some of the story through and then create some stakes with the matches themselves. I thought it's a really smart way to do it because it doesn't involve nearly as much money as trying to put on a weekly show or anything like that on TV when you can just do an internet show.
Exactly. And it's all self-promotion. You know what I'm saying? It's all on them. They're all doing it. And the success of the show like speaks to the following that these fucking guys have.
Yeah, dude, 11,000 plus. That's nuts.
Yeah, it's incredible. It was definitely history, man, what they did on Saturday night. I think it all like started with that bet from Meltzer, right? Like he kind of said that Ring of Honor can never sell out like a 10,000 seat arena. And then I think Cody was like, oh, I'll take that bet, and they just planned
29 minutes.
Yeah, over the last fucking year is nuts. They planned it.
I was thinking because it's pretty close to me. It's like 20, maybe 30 minutes away from my house. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll check it out. I'll get some buddies together and we'll go. But I thought there was no way it was gonna sell out when it did, so I didn't even really try hard. I'm like, okay, yeah, well, over the weekend we'll discuss and see if we can do it. And then all of a sudden, sold out. I'm like, what just happened? I totally missed out on my chance to go. I would have loved to have gone, and well, I guess not in this case.
Yeah.
But good for them. I am legitimately happy for them. It's awesome.
Yep. And for first time, like promotion, self-financed, self-promoted, all that, like very little hiccups, throughout the production itself. Just, that unfortunate bit of business at the end that we'll get to. But
yeah, and I was impressed. The production value was surprisingly
very
high.
high.
I thought it was gonna be like an old school, like an old Ring of Honor, like, and it was like almost like the handheld cameras on the side, or like the handheld the steady cams there, or like it would just be like a PWG show where it's kind of like it looks amateur, but this looked great, and it was huge. They panned out to the audience when needed and everything, and it was good. And they even leaned in to the whole, this is our first time doing it. And then so there were like spots where they had kind of mess ups and things like that. They were on purpose, and then you didn't know if they were real or not. It was just clearly everybody was on board because they were having just a really good time. And it was all part of the fun.
It was. So that wrapped up the 0 hour pre-show. Flip Gordon earned himself a shot at the ROH World Championship against Jay Lethal. That's going to be on the main portion of the pay-per-view. So the main card started with indie veteran M-Dog Matt Cross versus Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF they were calling him. I never really heard of this dude before, so
I don't know
I
either.
haven't heard of either one of them.
He's MJF is a pretty good heel too, and they both have some good skills. I'll give them that. And it was a kind of a very indie style match, which I liked. But yeah, so I remember, Jose, you and I had talked before how I feel strangely proud when I see like former Tough Enough contestants doing well and stuff like that. And I remember Matt Cross from, it might have been maybe the second season of Tough Enough, way back in the day, like the one where like Lita was one of the trainers and all that kind of stuff. Because I remember her telling him that he got cut really early on in that season because he was actually had the most experience and it didn't like improve as much as they were hoping him to.
Yeah.
Once he was there, and so he got cut and like he wasn't appreciating it enough. So to see him like this, like it's great. I love seeing it.
Yeah, that was the Stone Cold one. I think that they did like back in like 2010 or something like that. So
it was a while ago. But yes, so to see him now with this huge Eric Young style beard, but like able to do all these awesome skills and really has found himself as a pro wrestler over these years, and it's just kind of one of those that like, fine, I got cut, but look at me now kind of a thing. And it was a good match, even though of everything on the card, it seemed the most disposable out of everything else. As I was
thought it was definitely the weakest match on either the pre-show or the live show.
I think it was just because it had literally there was no build up to it, and so it was just wrestling, no story as far as I could tell, other than one's a heel and one's a face, and the heel was like he was calling Matt Cross, said, "You're old, you're too old to do this. I'm young. Look at me go." But turns out the face can actually go. So like that was really the only storyline there.
Yeah, you could tell definitely that MJF was trying to maximize his minutes. I thought he was doing like a little bit like too much boasting, like I know that's what the heel is supposed to do, but I felt like he was trying to ham it up like too much. Yeah. And Nick, I'm surprised you haven't heard of Matt Cross, but he is just like an indie journeyman. He hasn't really had that many shots in WWE, like not that I could ever recall, unless it's just like a kind of like a throwaway match where he was like a jobber. And then I think he's had a couple of one shots like in TNA, but he's never been on TV consistently. He's just been like an indie like journeyman, but an excellent fucking in the ring. And he had that shot on Tough Enough, but it was like, he did try to play it safe in the ring when, and he was like, look, I know I could do flips, I could do this, but I just thought you wanted to, to make sure like that they knew that he could tone it down. And Stone Cold was like, oh, you missed your shot. And then they eliminated him early, and it was shocking because he was the best wrestler there.
No, I definitely liked how he wrestled and everything. I wasn't a big fan of the heel kid. Like you said, I thought he did way too much showboating. And so like it was
Mr. Burberry. Basically, he just had all this Burberry, like everything. The scarf, his tights, or his Speedo was like all Burberry. Like that was like his thing, I guess.
Yeah. But nothing mechanically wrong with the match. It was, pretty good.
But it was like it was one of those matches where it was foreshadowed because the kid did showboat so much you knew he was losing.
Yeah. So, they gave M-Dog Matt Cross the win. He hit his shooting star press, which looked beautiful. And I can see, like, he still looks good in the ring and everything, even though, like, he's getting older. I think he's in his late 30s or, possibly, 40 or early 40s. You could see it. He's kind of, like, balding and stuff now. But I wish this guy really would have gotten a shot and stuff like that. He's good friends with Punk. He's straight edge himself. So, it's a shame. Wish he could have gotten, a nice little run on television, even if it, would have been for a year or two at least.
Yeah.
So
if he never does, I think this was a good way for him to showcase himself and say, like, check out the shit that I can do. I can definitely go. And if he never gets any bigger than this, at least he's on again, as we said a couple times. Like this is a historical event in pro wrestling. So at least he's part of that. So I'm happy for him there. Even though again, I still say this is probably the one like the throwaway match of the card.
Oh, it was. Yeah, for sure it was. And I think the announcers made a point too that they said this is the first time he's wrestled in crowds like this kind of crowds before, but only outside of North America. He's never wrestled in front of a crowd this big in his home country. So that's another cool notch for Matt Cross right there.
Good for him.
Yeah. I think after this match, we had a quick little interview in the back with legendary interviewer Sean Mooney. I didn't see that coming. That was pretty dope. They said he was supposed to be interviewing Christopher Daniels, but he was actually had a quick interview with the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion, Nick Aldis, and cut a promo on his match that was coming up later in the night with Cody. So that was pretty cool. It was digging seeing Sean Mooney there. He looked like he didn't, miss a step. So again, just these guys pulling out all the stops, between the referees, the ring announcers, and the interviewers. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's all that kind of, again, it's a wonderful case of fan service that they did with this kind of stuff. So like you said, with the refs, with the interviewers, all those things, like they didn't need to do any of that, but it makes those who know who they are like just get a huge kick out of it and totally mark out for little stupid things like that. Like, who would have thought that they'd be Earl Hebner marks? But I got excited when Earl Hebner was in the for a later match. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it's almost like an indie super show. Do you real quick? Do you think this thing could be something like an indie WrestleMania, something like that?
Do something like that. I mean, NWA used to have cards like this all the time. Like they would do NWA, AWA cards and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like Lawler's Territory would do a card with like Bill Watts and shit like that.
Dude,
like
I would love it if they did, if this was a recurring kind of a thing. But you definitely know that, like, even if this does get picked up as an annual thing, this is something special. Like any of the following ones are going to be, they're going to, I don't know, they'll have more money, so there's more production, it'll look more slick, and it won't be as just balls out fun as this one is. And I think, like, I heard a comparison. I think it was Bubba Ray or Bully Ray like tweeted that like he hasn't been in an environment like this since ECW One Night Stand, like that when WWE did the ECW pay-per-view, the first one.
Yeah.
When it really was just you were there?
Yeah, that was.
Oh shit, dude! Like that one was just. I only caught it. I caught it on the DVD. I think I didn't even watch it on pay-per-view. But like it was one of those that one was so clearly for the ECW fans. Everything that happened in that was just purely knowing that this is what they want to see, and this felt just like that. It was just everything in there was what the people who paid for their tickets at this show wanted to see. It just. As smart wrestling fan, this is what they wanted, and that's exactly what we got. And it was just so much fun because of it.
Yep, and the next match that came up was one of the first real high-profile matches on the card. We had Christopher Daniels, representing SCU against Arrow actor Stephen Amell, making not his wrestling debut, but his singles match debut. And he couldn't have a better opponent than Christopher Daniels to,
Yeah, dude, that guy he is the king, man. He's so good.
Yeah, it's another indie veteran that's never really gotten a shot in the big leagues in WWE. Had a good, decent run in TNA, which is, was a rival promotion and with national exposure at one point. So this match fucking surprised the hell out of me. You know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't sure like how Amell would do. He's athletic and stuff like that, but you never know like how celebrities are really gonna do until they get in the ring. And you could tell he's green and stuff like that, but he really impressed me in this match with Daniels. To me, like his flaws look like that he could do a better job selling, some moves. He might have looked like he got a little winded because you could, be in shape and run and do all that stuff, but being in ring shape is something completely fucking different.
Yeah.
When you start taking bumps and stuff. But for being an actor, and I'm wondering how the fuck he got away with this too, because I'm pretty sure he's still filming Arrow. And he took a fucking couple of big fucking bumps in this match, table spot. He pulled off a Van Terminator. So not fucking moves that you would expect somebody that's just having maybe like their third match in the business to do. So what do you guys think about this match? I thought it was pretty good for what it was.
Yeah, it was good for what it was.
Yep, same. Like, so again, it wasn't the best match in the card, but I was super impressed at Stephen Amell and his wrestling ability. Like he is definitely put in work like since his like prior matches, like his WWE matches and things like that. And actually, I don't know if this is down to the work that he put in or to Christopher Daniels, who was able to basically steer the match as the veteran should in this case. And when you have him doing it, like you're in good hands. It's like having a match against like AJ or something like that. Like you can let them guide you, and then you'll have a good product because of it. But like I was super impressed at the extent that he was willing to go to do some of the stuff, and like he put himself through a table. Like he didn't even like go. He didn't actually put Daniels through a table. Daniels moved out of the way, so he just crashed through it on his own.
Yeah.
Like,
yep.
Wow, like he didn't have any of the Hollywood press that you would imagine that someone like him would have had. Like he was proud to do it. It seemed like he was happy to be able to put on this show, and it's like he understood that he was part of a greater thing, and he wanted to kind of do his part towards it. Like I was very, very impressed. Like I thought he was gonna suck, or even be good for a celebrity. He was actually just good. Like he was good. Like he was like Shane McMahon, but like better than Shane McMahon, like a more athletic Shane. Even though they did a lot of Shane McMahon spots, I'd say.
You could tell he did get winded, but I was surprised he didn't get blown up earlier.
Yeah,
he kept a pretty decent pace with Daniels.
Because the match had a little bit of length to it. So, like you said, you could tell he blew up, but, he pulled through. And again, pulling off some impressive moves, putting himself through the table, the Van Terminator, shout out to Jerry Lynn. That was the referee also.
Oh, yes, that's right. I forgot about that. I love Jerry Lynn, and it was so cool to see him there, even though I didn't recognize him without that hair.
Yeah, I know he had going through some health issues and stuff, so it was good to see him
Definitely.
in the match. So, decent match here between those guys. And there was a little bit of setup for this because Stephen Amell made an appearance, I think, in Ring of Honor back in November of 2017. And I think he was put through a table by Daniels back then. So this was kind of set up to be sort of like a revenge type match.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so kudos to Amel for putting in the training and putting in the work here, and lending his name to the show to add what he could to it. He came out with some cool arrow kind of like tights. He had kind of the arrow logo behind his name on the Tron when he made his entrance. He came out with his co-actor who played Prometheus, I think, on the show. I forget the dude's name though. So decent match again for a celebrity, for an actor that again barely any training. He did a pretty decent job and held his own with Daniels, but Daniels got the win here after the best moonsault ever.
Yeah, and I think there was I didn't notice it during the match, so it was pointed out later than I saw. Like Christopher Daniels had his knee pad was a Hawkeye cover, so I thought that was a very fun little jab against obviously Arrow in this case. So I thought that was real cool, and I liked all it was a good crowd, and I liked when Stephen Amell went through the table, there were all those broken arrow chants. I thought that was just fun, really fun.
Yeah, and that got the holy shit chant too.
I would have said the same thing. You expect some of the Hollywood press there, like he wouldn't go through a table, much less put himself through a table, but he did. Good on him, man.
Yeah, he did. And the crowd gave him some love, gave him and Daniel some love after the match. They kind of like embraced, shook hands, and both went up on the turnbuckles to soak in the crowd. So that was cool. So SCU winds up going 2-0 for the night because they picked up the tag win earlier, and Daniels with the win here. So pretty cool. That was a pretty cool thing. This next match fucking impressed the fucking hell out of me. The fucking fatal 4-way match between Madison Rayne, Dr. Britt Baker, Chelsea Green, and Tessa Blanchard.
Yeah.
So
such a good match.
Yeah, these girls put on a fucking hell of a show, man. Hell of a fucking show. And unexpectedly, because it's like, okay, fatal 4-way match is not one of the easiest matches to pull off. You could tell these girls were hungry. They were fucking hungry. They knew the spotlight was going to be on them here, and they impressed, man. They fucking impressed.
Yeah, they definitely did. And even the little things, like I like that, like as commentators, they had a bunch of like other like female wrestlers that were doing the commentary. So Tenille, what's her name?
Tenille Dashwood, who played Emma in WWE.
I forget her actual name now, and it's not Emma, but she was there. Like they had a bunch of wrestlers there, just kind of, they were okay on commentary, but just the fact that it made it seem bigger, and it helped to kind of legitimize the match itself because it had more stakes that way, and I thought that was real cool.
I always knew Tessa was Tully's kid, but I never knew that her stepdad was Magnum TA.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, that's the dude that was in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was Magnum TA, man. Yeah, so her dad's Tully, and then her stepdad is Magnum TA.
Well, that explains why she's so good.
Yeah, man.
Size being built like a brick shithouse, man.
Yeah. She's built.
And that girl is only 23.
Yeah, she's young.
Man, what is up with all these really young people being so good, so young? It's crazy. But you can see why like she's definitely the one to lead the Impact Women's Division. Like you can see why they have the strap on her now, because that girl can go, man. And it's not just good for a female wrestler, man. She was just good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was impressed with what's her name, Chelsea Green.
Green impressed the hell out of me.
She was
the hot mess.
She was the standout to me in this, and I like just that she was half the hot mess. It was like a whole Two-Face thing going, where like she wasn't her true like whatever whatever bride. I can't think not tormented, but like her TNA or her Impact like character was like total hot mess. In this case, she was just half and half. So that's why her costume was all in halves and everything like that. She is the one that impressed me the most out of these four. Even though, again, Tessa Blanchard winning, I'm cool with that, and I think she deserved to win. But Chelsea was really the one that impressed me in this.
Yeah, I will agree.
You expect a good performance out of Madison Rayne, Tessa Blanchard.
And Dr. What's her name? I can't think of her.
No, I wasn't too impressed with her.
Nah, I thought she was
Brittany
fine.
Baker, I think it was.
Yeah, Britt Baker, yeah.
She was good, but like she was probably the least talented. No, I shouldn't say that. Her ability.
That's Adam Cole. Yeah, that's Adam Cole's girlfriend.
And and Chelsea Green is what's his name?
Zack Ryder's. That's Zack Ryder's girl. And Tessa used to go out with Ricochet, but I think they broke up. And
did they? They had good mixed tag matches. And even the match, I think they had a match against each other. It was a good match.
Yeah, so I think she's going out with some dude from Lucha Underground now. I forgot his name, but she posted a pic, and I didn't know that she split from Ricochet. But they hadn't been posting pics together for a while, so I think it's been like 6 months or so.
But yeah, so like I said before, like Chelsea Green, also a tough enough contestant, and just it's great to see her like doing so well for herself, and especially given it's just weird that season of Tough Enough was the MTV one, I think, or whatever the most recent one was, where the ones who won are nowhere, but like 4 or 5 other people from that cast are the ones that are really doing well. So that's where Velveteen Dream was from that cast, and then whichever one of the Iconics was on there, and Mandy Rose is on there.
Rose, yeah.
Chelsea Green. Like, it's great to see them all doing well. But especially her, because I thought she and Velveteen Dream. I thought Patrick. I thought they were cut way too early because the show was on. Is it USA? It was USA, I think. So
yeah, and the fans were voting or some shit.
That was it, and it was so the fans loved ZZ and all that, so they were pushing him through, and then so Patrick got cut, and then they loved Sarah Lee, who I actually did like too, but. They were pushing. They wanted her, so then Chelsea got cut. Even though like they were the more talented ones in the group, it's good to see them shining now outside of that. Even though they got cut.
Yep, and Tessa got the win here. There was some cool spots. There was a lot going on here, so I can't even remember. But I think I wasn't sure if it was Tessa that I think hit like the lung blower, like on one of the girls, like out of the corner. I was like, oh damn, that's good.
Like, that's her move, I think, right? That's one of her signatures. Like I think that actually makes sense. I think it's called the Magnum, right? So it makes sense.
The Magnum,
it makes sense now, especially. But that's a great move. Like if it is, I think. Supposed to be off the top rope into that, but she did it I think a couple times and different people from different spots. Like I thought it was a really cool move, and in general I like the lung blower type moves a lot. I think it looks awesome, but it's fairly well controlled in general. So I think that's a great spot that people are doing now. Again, Chelsea Green, like she did the broski boot in there at one point, and then she did a Canadian Destroyer at one point.
Oh
too.
I was like, holy shit!
There were a lot of really cool spots, a lot of topes, a lot of like corkscrew plancha type stuff off the ropes. These girls, man, they went all out. Yeah, I was very impressed.
They moved at a fast pace and they weren't sloppy. Like everything was nice and crisp and solid. Like I didn't really notice any like real mistakes.
Yeah,
in the match.
They told the story well. Given the 4 of them, you'd think it would be annoying if you watch a lot of WWE women's wrestling now.
Yeah, see, that's what I was gonna say is with Evolution coming up, how many matches on that card do you think will be better than that match? 1, 2,
1.
Maybe?
I give it 1, maybe.
Maybe
because I think they're gonna try to combine a lot of other stuff that won't be as good and all that. There's potential for at least 2 or 3 matches to be as good as that, but I bet you it's max 1 that is better than that, if that.
It's one of the best women's matches I've ever seen.
Yeah. I mean, one of the best ones I've seen in a long while. Blanchard delivered a hammerlock DDT to Green, scoring the win before Baker could break up the pinfall, and that actually looked like a little confusing there because it looked like she might have.
I think that was the only negative of the match was that I think is that it looked It looked like they
she-
broke up the pin, but it didn't,
Yeah.
so that it was confusing. Unfortunately.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that's the only thing that I would call foul on. But a great fucking match that these ladies put on. And you won't see that in the WWE, but hopefully, scouts from WWE were watching, and hopefully one of those girls gets their shot in the big time.
It would be nice. Like, I think you wouldn't see that kind of a match because that one girl did like sling blades to everybody. The only people that can do the sling blade officially are Finn Balor and Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins.
Seems to be able to do it.
Yep. So next match up, this is the match I would have figured would have been the main event. So surprisingly, it's here in the middle of the show, but this is the big one for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Cody, just like his dad before him, going for the title against champion Nick Aldis, who was Magnus back in TNA. If anybody doesn't know who Nick Aldis is, this match was pretty good too. Cody came out with a crew of
the
Nightmare
like
Family,
like a big prize match, like prize fighter match, or like a UFC match. Like they came out with, they had their marches, they had their team with them. It was great.
It was fucking cool. It felt big time, right? Like it felt.
That's exactly it. It felt like it was something big, even though like their wrestling ability compared to some people later on the card, like is not there. Like this wasn't gonna match the Omega match or anything like that. Like they weren't gonna be able to go like them. So they did it all with the emotion, with the storyline, and making it big like this. He came up with his fucking dog, and it was awesome.
I kept looking at that one blonde guy that came out with him, and I was like, I know who that is. I didn't know it was Glacier.
Glacier.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Ray Lloyd. Yeah. So he came out with his wife, Brandy, Diamond Dallas Page, Tommy Dreamer, his dog, Pharaoh, Glacier, that's Ray Lloyd. And that was awesome. And you saw like when he was making his march to the ring, like before he actually came out to the stage where everybody in the arena could see him, like he looked like he was like about to like just cry, like he looked like he probably was crying, like as he was making his way to the ring, you know what I'm saying? Because he's one of the guys, instrumental in putting this thing together, so and then challenging for the title that his dad held. Dusty, had 3 reigns. He didn't hold the belt for long, what I'm saying, but he's his name is almost synonymous with this championship.
And I think that was again that made this something so much more than just the wrestling in this case for this match particularly, is that like I said, there was all that emotion that was there, it's all that history that was there, and it made a match that I wasn't as excited about just because of some of the names that were on the card and in other places. But I was looking forward to it, but I wasn't as excited about just the wrestling ability. But they really kept me engaged, and they really made it to be the big event that they were trying to go for. And again, kudos to Cody for this is his show for the title, for a title like this, where again it was for his daddy's title basically, and he put it in the middle of the card. Like he didn't give himself like the last match of the night or anything. Nothing like that. Just put it right in the middle, and then they did their thing. So like I think that's the humility that he has in this position. Like again, knowing that coming up there's Omega, there's Okada, there's Rey Mysterio. Like there's all these other names that other people are dying to see. So man, I all the respect in the world for him for doing that.
That's true. Good point. That's a good point. And Nick Aldis came out with his team as well. Some names probably like unfamiliar, but he came out with Tim Storm, who's a former NWA champion. He had Daivari with him. You know what I'm saying? I know everybody recognizes him from WWE.
Like I didn't know that they had a connection. That one seemed weird, other than they needed someone to take the diamond cutter later.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Well, I think Daivari is like an agent for NWA.
Oh, is that it? Oh, so there is a reason for it. Okay, it just seemed weird to me.
Yeah, he came out with Jeff Jarrett, recent inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame, so
Jeff Jarrett in a dapper suit and no guitar, and he was gonna smash over everyone's head.
So it was definitely, made it seem like it was big time, and actually I think it was right for them to kind of put this match here because, the crowd is still fresh. They were loud. They were, it almost didn't matter. Like this was like the main event in like the middle of the show, it was just based off the crowd reaction and then the emotion behind the match. So it was pretty solid, man. I actually got scared when kind of like the midway through when Cody was coming off the top and Aldis caught him with the forearm and the ref threw up the X, or Hebner,
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, like fuck no, like hopefully he didn't get like knocked out. And it did slow down for like a couple of minutes, but it was just so Cody could kind of, I guess, blade and add some more emotion to the match,
See, I hate when they use the X as a spot.
Yeah,
and I think it was in this case. I don't think it was legit because it was very obviously done in this case.
Yeah,
so that could also just be Earl Hebner, like he's old now or whatever. But I thought it was because it was so blatant and so noticeable. I thought it was a spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
And not only that, the pacing reminded me of an old NWA match, like an old school like Harley Dusty match or some shit. Yeah, like the pacing was like an old NWA match. And how happy is fucking Billy Corgan to have fucking Cody as his champ?
Yeah, man. Like there's just so much like else, so many ancillary things that are gone along with this now. Like it's bigger than it had any right to be. I'd say really, but it was awesome.
Yeah. And Aldis, he's one that I think he says he's kind of like blacklisted from WWE for whatever reason. Like he's just not getting like an opportunity there. So again, here to show on a stage like this, what he could do. And I felt like he held his own. Like, he wrestled a very like a main event style, I guess you could kind of call it. Like that's kind of like what this match was. And like Nick just said, that old school, building it up kind of like type of match. And he was beating Cody's ass pretty much for the entire match. Like he had control. And it was good just to see kind of Cody come and take like the come from behind like victory. And they had that spot again with the X. He kind of bladed, he was bleeding. They went back into the ring and and
Brandy was trying to like say, you don't have to do this. It was that spot also.
All this coming trying to hit Cody with a elbow drop from the top rope. And Brandy got in the way kind of like at the last second, so she caught the elbow drop.
Good honor for that, man. Even though it's just obviously it was a planned spot, but I think they pulled it off pretty well. Like it didn't look obvious. Like she kind of darted in there last minute after all this had already kind of committed to doing it, so it wasn't like she like that. The timing there worked really well. I think she did a good job with that.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, that was like an old school NWA spot,
Yeah. The whole everything about the match, again, like you said, the pacing, everything about it seemed kind of old school, and I think that's another reason why it was good to have it where it sat on the card, even though I wasn't expecting it. Like it was good because with the matches that were coming up and then the style of wrestling that they all do, it was going to be up, and I think so. It was right to put it here because if this came after, let's say, the main event match, like the main event 6-man tag, like it would have the emotion would have been there and that part would have been cool, but it definitely would have kind of brought the crowd back down a bit from the friends that they had.
The action wouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
For like another reason, like they were running right up on time at the end of this card.
Yeah, they were.
So I think that's why they booked the 6-man at the end.
Yeah, because they knew that they could cram a half an hour worth of stuff into 10 minutes.
Yeah,
which is what they had
and
to.
They could also and they could just go home just like that, and people would be satisfied.
I was
pretty much.
We'll get there when we get there.
Yeah.
But I just want to say that that's like one of the reasons why I don't think this was the main event.
Yeah, I totally understand. I think you're right.
Yeah, and I also think that they really did a good job of like paying respect to the NWA title.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
man. They
Yep.
treated it like a big deal. Like they treated
like-
it like it's the world title, like that it once was. You know.
Yeah.
Yep. It
And
used
all
to be.
those things we talked about, like the camps coming out with you know, the spots of, oh, is he hurt? Is he not hurt? The blading, you know, Brandy's whole role in the match. It was really a good match. I really liked it.
Oh,
Yep.
and didn't she look fucking crazy too? Her outfit she came out in was
Yeah,
like,
that outfit was
wow.
nice too, and the outfit later I kind of like too.
Yeah. Oh man, but yeah, but this was good. Lots of emotion, you know, lots of classic little spots. You know, Rhodes put on the classic figure 4 leg lock. You know, Aldis gets out. You know, he's still taking a beating. You know, again, like we said, Brandy caught the elbow drop, save it to Cody, and you know, again, you know, he tried to hit back with the disaster kick, crossroads, couldn't keep Aldis down. And they wound up trying to counter each other back and forth. And, you know, Rhodes stacked all this up and scored the win with the roll up. So he, you know, he wins the NWA World Championship. It's pretty dope. That's, I think, the first father-son duo that could claim that.
Yeah. Yep. That is fact right there. So it's really cool. And it's just a nice moment to have on this show. So, and it,
Wait,
again,
no.
I thought he was.
Didn't Terry Funk's father hit it?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I remember when I was reading the stats, they said this was the first time.
Yeah, I thought this was the first time, but I can't confirm that because I'm not sure. But yeah, it again, another one that kind of gave more legitimacy to the show itself, because who would have thought that this one-off show that there would be a title change in it? Like it increased the stakes later on, like because now you don't know, maybe Jay Lethal was gonna lose the belt. Like there's all sorts of stuff that this title changing, like it affected the stakes of the rest of the show as well.
Yeah.
And another thing, Jose, you played WWE 2K18, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of those matches where you could put the old school filter on.
Yeah.
That shit would have been tight.
Yeah, word up. That's cool.
I hope they release like a grainy video footage version of that match. That would be brilliant.
it's in like the letterbox, or not the. It's in like the 4x3 aspect ratio and all that kind of stuff.
That'd be awesome. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, cool post-match celebration. You know, Cody, you know, again, celebrating in the ring with family and everybody. It was good. It was good. So next match, I guess, just to kind of try to reset, was a street fight between Hangman Adam Page and Joey Janela, who Joey Janela I'm not too familiar with. You know, Hangman Adam Page is you know, a member of Bullet Club. They did show like a pre-match package of some kind of storyline that he had going on with like Joey Ryan, like kind of like bugging out and going crazy and murdered Joey Ryan in a like hotel room or something like that.
Yeah, dude. It was on Being the Elite.
Yeah, are you familiar with Joey Ryan at all, Jose?
Yeah,
I guess either of you. Like he's hilarious. So that made this so much funnier and so much more fun. I guess when that came up, but like this was a surprisingly good match too. I again, this is now the second Chicago street fight that I've seen in the past like 3 months with this and the NXT match that they had. So apparently that's a thing in Chicago that I didn't know about. But this was a hell of a match, and they did a great job with the match itself. I was like cringing through a lot of it. I will say, but I don't normally like cringing in my matches, but it was juxtaposed against the very like the hilarious kind of, oh my gosh, there's a crack. Is that an actual Cracker Barrel that they have? So very obvious for the sponsors and stuff like that. There was some very funny things like with stuff like that, and also some crazy stuff that was in it too, man.
Yeah, that spot with the ladder where it bent. Yeah.
Oh, that like yes, a burning hammer onto a ladder. That's nuts. And then like all the table spots in there, and just like the fallaway slam onto the chair, like onto a chair that was set up. It wasn't like a chair on the mat. It was like in seated position. That's crazy, man. Like that that poor Joey Janela, man. He took a lot of bumps in this.
He got paid for it.
He
I hope
did.
so. And spotlight on his girl. I can't think of her name now, but she was
Penelope
Ford. She was awesome.
No,
like
she was awesome.
Great. Like the stuff that she was able to do. Like she just did a bunch of like back handsprings to evade Hangman Page, and then she did her kind of Matrix backbend into a stunner.
Yeah, she hit him with a stunner. I was like, holy shit, that's
and
crazy.
Then she jumped. She did the crossbody off the top rope onto the floor, but like I swear, like her arms could have like held her ankles. Like she had so much arch in that thing when she jumped. Like it was nuts. Like that girl was very impressive.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with her. Joey Janela, not familiar with him either. I think he was. They were saying he was from CZW,
which I guess makes sense because they're crazy in CZW. So that makes sense why he was taking all these bumps.
Yeah, but man, like somersaults, sentons, pump handle slams, like there was pretty much like everything that you could think of in this match. And again, like you said, Paul, like just some spots that would like make you cringe, you know, like I think was there like a pile driver spot? I know the finish of the match was like him driving him basically off a ladder onto like another ladder that was like set up or something like that.
Like off the ladder through a table, and I can't think the last one. Is that what his move is called? Like his finisher?
Yeah.
Hangman Page's finisher. It's like I think, did Kid Cash have a move like that? Like I can't think of what that move. Like it's very reminiscent of someone's move, and I can't think of whose.
The rite of passage.
Rite of passage.
Oh, that's it. But yeah, it's like almost like a tombstone with the guy like behind him, kind of a thing. Like so, like the opponent is on his back, and he does it, but he did it through a table in this case. Like that's nuts. Yeah. That's insane. And I'm surprised that he didn't die from that, much less after like Page threw him off like the entrance ramp, like to try to go through the tables, but like didn't throw him far enough. So like
he only went through
like he just hit the edge of the table. Like I was cringing when I saw that because he basically like his neck like hit the corner of the table and busted the table.
Yeah.
So there was no landing well with that one. Like that one was just brutal. Ugh.
You know, he got through that on adrenaline and shit, you know, because that hurts. That definitely hurts. That was a bad one, you know.
But again, it was a very entertaining match. Like there was a lot of like, I know for sure that I think it was Paige like did like the money clip clothesline, like so he, like over the railing when they were out in the crowd, like he just basically did like a front flip over the railing into a clothesline. Like it was that's a hell of a move, and that takes some incredible athletic ability that I didn't realize that Hangman Page had, because when I first saw him, when he first joined the Bullet Club, I think, I'm like, why is this guy in the Bullet Club? He looks cool, has a cool character, but his ability's not there. But he's gotten a lot better since I stopped watching him.
Yeah, no, he was pretty impressive. This was pretty much almost like a spotlight, you know, match for him because he had most of the offense.
Yeah, he did that, but I think they both did well.
Yeah,
and they both had some good spots, but definitely all the impactful offense was all on Hangman Page in this case.
They did comedy right in this match.
Yeah.
I liked it. I liked this match a lot.
Like all the stuff when Penelope Ford brought out like the bag, like and then all of a sudden like there was stuff going on and there was the boots and he freaked out with the boots and then he super kicked right in the face. I was like, damn. but again, good on her, man. Like she was showing that she could hang with the boys, so she took a super kick like one of the guys. Like
yeah. That's the shit you used to see back in the day. You don't like see stuff like that anymore. Yeah, definitely not in WWE, you know.
Yeah, so. It's like was it Beulah? Like took the 3D like back in ECW and like quote unquote broke her neck like because of it, because like she was showing that she was hanging with the boys doing all the Dreamer drivers and all that kind of stuff, and then so she got put down like one of the guys in that case.
No, Mae Young went through a table back in the day.
That's true.
Yeah.
Boys. Oh.
Yeah, they gave no fucks back in the day about fucking doing anything to the women up until about 2004, 2005, and then they cut that shit out.
Yeah, I think it this match. It might even have been. Oh no, it was the Cody match where there was like a power slam on the outside that I cringed at that one too, because like They were centimeters away from breaking Nick Aldis's neck in that case. Like it was really close, and I was very, very scared when I saw that. And I'm not gonna lie, there are some times where I love Samoa Joe, but when he does his power slam, like he does it so quickly and so fast that like if he's just off by a little bit, he's snapping someone's neck with that.
Yeah, but his came off against AJ at SummerSlam though, because he hit that move and it came out looking much smoother and much better.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress with that. Like there were a lot of spots that made me cringe in this, but it was still a very, very entertaining match. Way more than I would have thought a Hangman Page versus someone I don't know match would be, but it was really, really good.
Yeah. You know, so he got his win off that big spot. You know, he hit that rite of passage from the ladder through a table and scored the win. So this thing was just funny because we got the post match fucking.
It was outstanding.
This was crazy. So a bunch of people, I guess. What the fuck? How do I even know how to describe?
Well, I guess first
people in inflatable dick costumes.
Yeah, druids.
Exactly. They were like druids. Like
they were like Undertaker druids.
So that's again, this is one of those things that clearly is for the a smart. This is for a wrestling fan who's a wrestling fan, like who knows that that's a callback to the Undertaker spot and all that, because it's ridiculous. If you don't know any of that, you're like, why the hell are there dudes in inflatable penises going on right now? Why are they marching? Why do they show a video vignette of that dude's dick moving? Like all these little things that like if you don't know wrestling is ridiculous. And my wife is like, I'm sure hearing me talk this stuff on this call right now, and she's like, what is he talking about? But within the context of the show, it's hilarious. And then the commentary that was going on while this was all happening was so funny. It was just talking about like, I'm an expert on penises, but not an expert on the great beyond. So I don't know what this could possibly mean. Like, and just lots of stupid little things, and like the res erection and all these little things that they had with regards to Joey Ryan, the master of the penis style wrestling, coming back from the dead. It's so ridiculous, but so funny, and it was just hilarious in within the context of this match and the history that they did with on being the elite. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, so they played off that storyline from being the elite here, and Joey Ryan makes his way to the ring, you know, through the wave of men in penis fucking costumes, and he gets into the ring and does the classic spot where, you know, Hangman fucking flips Hangman with his fucking dick. So funny. Like, if you've never seen that spot, just Google Joey fucking Ryan. You know what I'm saying? You could see that spot on YouTube, I'm sure.
There's a million spots like that on YouTube, which is great because he's so funny. He's just a phenomenal comedy wrestler, basically. Yeah. The character is ridiculous.
Yeah, total comedy spot, you know what I'm saying? Flips him, penis flips him. I heard he's like pretty paid though, you know what I'm saying? So he's probably pretty successful. You know, he's definitely got his gimmick down. You know, he plays a 70s style porn star. Yeah,
he's got the mustache and everything, and I guess it's like he is perfectly that. Like it's Ron Swanson. If Ron Swanson was a pro wrestler, that's who he would be, and it is great because he's a true like a real man, like from the 70s with the big hair, the big mustache, and it's all about being manly. So what's more manly than being able to to flip someone with your penis?
I know, and make money doing it, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just hilarious.
Oh man, so so he gets his revenge on Hangman there, and I'm sure that storyline is going to continue to play out in the weeks to come.
I hope so. I hope it does, because that's gold.
All right, next matchup was for the Ring of Honor World Championship. So, you know, Flip Gordon from the Battle Royal winner from earlier in the night, getting his title shot against Jay Lethal. So they did a backstage segment where it's just somebody, you didn't see who, it was just like a hand kind of tapping Jay Lethal on the shoulder when he was on his way to the ring, and it knocked him into his black machismo persona. So
I will also say I'm biased towards this match because of it, but I'm a huge black machismo fan.
Hell yeah.
So I loved it. I was not expecting it. I thought it was going to be like a like a good Ring of Honor match, like with some awesome wrestling spots. But this ended up being so much more entertaining, or I shouldn't say more, but so entertaining in a very different way that I really, really, really enjoyed it.
They kind of foreshadowed it on the Being the Elite episode that came out right before it. Like he was in the mirror talking to himself as Savage and shit like that. It was really good.
Yeah, his Jay Lethal's impressions are so good, but like especially like even though I love his Ric Flair stuff, but Black Machismo because it's the physicality of it too. Like it's so great the way he walks with the shoulders up and everything like that, and the way that everything he does as Black Machismo is so perfectly throwback to Randy Savage that I love it. It's the way he speaks, the way he moves, the way he just his finger points and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's just great.
He plays it perfectly. He plays it fucking perfectly. So you almost feel like you're seeing the Macho Man back in the ring. You know what I'm saying?
You really do.
And that was a cool gimmick where they gave him his old ring. Lanny gave him his old ring gear.
I thought that was really cool. Like it just is just such a nice little gesture and just a very cool thing overall with the whole package of that match. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
him grabbing Brandy, acting like she was Liz. That's
so good.
I'm not Elizabeth.
Yeah, puts her up on his shoulder, and he's got the finger up. Like it was just perfect. It was perfect. Just looked just like it.
That was good stuff. It was good stuff, and you're right. Like it was totally unexpected. I was expecting, like you said, a straight up like ROH World Title match. Like I thought it was going to be a pretty straightforward, serious match. So just the antics of all that was cool to see. It was cool to see Lanny Poffo, the genius. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Brandy, seeing Brandy again in that outfit, Nick, like you said,
uniform.
That was pretty cool, and Flip impressed me too. He had been the butt of so many jokes like leading up to this thing, and dying to get on the card, and he was getting shut down by Cody and the Bucks, and you know what I'm saying. So just kind of the way they tied up his storyline here, with the getting in the battle royal, winning, and getting a pretty prime spot here on the main card.
Yeah,
and,
this is a great little spotlight and feature on his ability, and so good for him for kind of taking it and running with it because he was very impressive. Like the stuff that dude can do is very, very impressive.
Yeah, his warrior spots and Hogan spots were pretty cool.
Yeah, those were great.
Yeah,
the commentary during that time was just hilarious. Like it's just the all the callbacks to the little stuff with that, and it's like, is there something? I think was it like ultimate going on the deep inside him or something like that? Just little things like that, and it just was just very, very fun for the viewer in that case.
Yeah, the
Flip, the mega power handshakes.
Oh yeah, in the beginning, they lived up to the code of honor and stuff. That was cool because that's classic too, and just really good job. They paid attention to the nuances there when it came to that stuff. And I think it was important for them to kind of make that entertaining, even for the people that might not be familiar, with it. Everybody's gonna know, classic Macho Man Hulk Hogan, like the way they played that up there.
And if you didn't know that Macho Man dropped the elbow, he did 3 of them.
Yeah, that was the only bummer for me for that match, kind of dissing his finisher like that.
I don't know. I was cool with it, and then I think. I get what you're saying completely, but it didn't bother me only because I think because they had basically Lethal switch out from Black Machismo to Jay Lethal a few times here and there. It was so it wasn't purely a comedy match, and they were still there because I think a portion would have been upset if it was all done in comedy. So they still able to do. Some good Jay Lethal spots, and they were able to do some Flip Gordon was able to do. He didn't just do Hogan spots, let's say, he did Flip Gordon stuff. So he was doing his the springboard sling blade kind of a thing that move they did there, and just all the 450s and all there's tons of good flippy spots, and then Lethal did a lot of his good spots too. So I think. Because I had a mix of both, I was cool with it. Mm-hmm. But I totally get where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, I mean, you drop 3 macho elbows and it doesn't end the match. I mean, come on, man. There's kicking out of the finisher, and then there's going way too fucking far.
Yeah, you can't kick out of 3 Macho Man elbow drops.
It was
but
just
again, he's Black Machismo. He's not Macho Man, I guess.
Yeah, and it was for the Hulk Hogan pop. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's the Hulk Hogan overcoming the odds. Like, oh shit, you know, and he hulked up and stuff. So
yeah, so I mean, I get it within the context of it, but I can see where you're coming from, certainly.
Yeah, so you know, Lethal hit you know, he's went through all the punishment and went through everything that Flip was trying to throw at him, but he wound up hitting his lethal injection finisher and scored the victory. So he retains the championship and gave Gordon his props after the match too. And Gordon was impressive. Like, you know, I wasn't too familiar with him, but I was impressed by him, you know. So I'm definitely got to make a little bit more of an effort to kind of keep up with the Ring of Honor stuff.
Yeah, I had some friends who were actually at the show, and he was just posting pictures. That they had pictures with Flip Gordon before. This was before the show started, so didn't know that he was going to win the Battle Royal. They was going to get this match or anything like that, and so it's even cooler now, given that he had that high profile match there. It's really cool.
Yeah. So Bully Ray came out and attacked Jay Lethal after the match and stuff. I almost forgot about that. And you know, Gordon and Poffo, you know, they try to intervene. Cole Cabana came out to make the save, and I think they wound up putting Bully Ray through a table.
Yeah, the shield style, like the triple power bomb.
Yeah.
So that's another one where like the crowd like did the whole the Roman Reigns hoo-ah, like and one of the things that I liked, and I don't know, so I could be reading too much into it, but if anyone's gonna do it, it's Bubba Ray, but like he had to go to like 3 different spots under the ring to try to find a table. And granted, that could be because there have been already so many table spots that have happened, and he legit didn't know where it was, or some little subtle things that could be like he's never the one that gets the table. Devon always gets the table, so it could be one of those that like that he didn't really know where to go to get the table. And under any other person, I would have thought they used up all the other tables, and this is the only spot that had him. But Bubba Ray is one of the few that it's all about the little things that he always keeps going. It's just like Kevin Owens does it also very well, where it's just little stuff and some of the stuff that he says in the ring, like while it's going on, like the reactions and stuff like that. He's the one person that I would think that might actually go, well, Devon always gets the table. It would make sense that Bubba wouldn't, that Bully Ray wouldn't know exactly where to go to get the table because there was no Devon to get it.
Yeah.
I didn't even catch that, man. That's a good observation.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's true or not, but again, because I think that Bubba Ray is a phenomenal wrestler for the way that he does stuff, but also it's the little things too that he does. Like even when he got that triple power bomb, like he's like, oh crap, like right as he's going to the table, like little things like that. I think they are the attention to detail that he pays attention to. So it may have been something like that too. It's like subtly, like he threw in there. Yeah.
I'm glad you caught that because I wouldn't have even like picked up on that like right away. Probably eventually, but that's a like Nick said, good observation.
Again, I could be just reading too much into it. as a huge Bubba Ray mark.
We're fans. We're fucking fans, man. We're fans.
Like that guy can take a bump. Like no other. Like he lays himself out in the air so that it looks more impactful for someone of his frame. Like little things like that I love.
Yeah, and good on him, man. Because I thought he had to retire or something because he was like had gotten concussed or something like last year. So I thought he wasn't really
he's been doing a whole shitload of run-ins on Ring of Honor and shit.
So still doing stuff like that. Yeah, like I thought he was gonna cut all that out, you know. So I mean, that's cool that
I'm glad he can still be involved.
He's okay enough. Yeah, if he's okay enough for that. So all right. So we're getting down to the end. This is the last 3 matches on the show, highly anticipated. Yeah. At least 2 of them, because I felt like one of them was low key, even though, you know, one of the guys in them. But the next one up featured the IWGP Heavyweight Champion, Kenny Omega versus Pentagon Jr. Man, what a fucking match, man. This was a first-time matchup. It was touted as a dream matchup between these 2 guys. You know, again, Kenny's the current IWGP champion, and Pentagon Jr. recently just held the Impact World Championship. So, man, this was good. This was good.
It was a hell of a match. Like, I was not I like both of them individually and in the matches that I've seen, and I think I was part of the. There's a certain part of the viewers and fans I'm in that batch that was like, well, why didn't you have Omega Okada? Like, since they're both on the card, why wouldn't you have them go against each other again for this awesome super card?
Yeah,
but great, really smart booking in this case, in that now you have a match that would never happen. Like, you wouldn't get these two together doing this match. And now that they're together, like, let's do this. Let's do it like this, and we'll get you a match that you didn't know you wanted to see, because it was an amazing match.
Yeah. What do you think, Nick?
I loved it, man. I didn't think that their styles were gonna mesh too well.
That's exactly it. I didn't think so either, but it was a very good match.
Yeah, and like, the amount of V triggers in that match, holy Christ.
Yeah.
See, I almost felt like that was a negative though, because I was like, okay, he kept hitting it, so I'm like, man, he's just doing the same move over and over again. Like if that was anybody into like the WWE, we'd probably be bitching and complaining like about that. You know, it's a cool looking fucking move, and I did feel some of them look better than others, but it does look fucking cool. But I felt it was overused almost in the match.
I can see that totally, but I think in a kind of a New Japan style. Certainly with the high profile ones, like it is one of those that if you don't get them down with the kind of the signature in the beginning, and they keep kicking out, it's one of those that you keep grinding at it to like it. You do what you can to try to get it over. And so if you look at it from that standpoint, it kind of made sense. Like it's like you think that he would have taken him out with the V trigger in the first, but he still didn't do it. They still kicked out. Yeah, and so he's still grinding that move to try to get it to go. And then
he countered the Fallen Angel how many times?
Yeah.
One winged angel.
Yeah. The one winged angel,
like quite a few times. So that's why I thought he kept going to the V trigger. You know,
and that's something that, again, just given that it's Omega in this case, with something like that. That level of storytelling in those matches that he does well is like that. That's because it's him. I think it's more legit that he kept going to the V trigger for exactly that. Like because he couldn't land the one winged angel, he had to go to the V trigger and try to get him to wear him down that way and to see if that could work. But if it was someone in WWE,
it was like JBL doing the fucking clothesline from hell like 15 times. It wouldn't work. You know what I mean? Because but the V trigger is always a setup usually for the one winged angel.
Yeah, so he's trying to get it.
Yeah, he kept trying to get it, and then the one winged angel kept getting countered.
Yeah. Because the Pentagon was working on his arm a little bit, so he couldn't.
Yeah, that was again super smart. That was great ring psychology and great storytelling. There is that like he had to use the other arm, like because he couldn't lock it in with his normal arm because he broke the arm. Like in quotes, he broke the arm. He had to, he couldn't pull it off, and he had to go the other way. It's just a good way to tell that story with it. And also impressive is the number of package pile drivers that were in this match, especially the one
on the apron.
I was like, fuck me, and like because Omega like bounced off of that basically, but that dude can sell with the best of them as well. So like it might have been well protected, but it didn't look it. It looked brutal.
Yeah, shit like that scares me.
See, like you guys were talking about cringing during like the Cody match. I cringed during this one.
Yeah. I sure did. I definitely still did with this because that move particularly, I love that move, but I get why they don't let Kevin Owens do it because that's a brutal move, man. And it looked, especially when done on the apron. Holy shit, man! Like damn. Good on Omega for taking that and then doing another half of the match afterwards.
Yeah. For real. And he took that on the apron and he took another one in the ring, right? I could have sworn he took two of those things in the match.
Yeah, he did. And then he delivered his own package pile driver to Pentagon Jr. with the spin added to it. Just to show that like I'm still going. I still got more in me.
Yep, it was good, man. These guys pulled out all the stops, man. The crowd fucking just chanting all in. With all the counters and such. Pentagon definitely impressed, and
man, that guy is so good, Pentagon. Like, it's it's one of those that he was kind of under my radar up until probably like the more recent Impact stuff. Because Omega Kenny Omega is huge. Everyone knows Omega, and he's got matches that are everywhere that you can see. And I've watched all those matches, but I have only recently really started watching Pentagon Jr. And damn, that guy can go, man. He is really good.
Kind of makes me want to go back and watch some more of his Lucha Underground shit too.
Yeah, I like Lucha Underground, but it's for some reason that because there's so much else that's going on and like so many other things that I watch that I don't watch Lucha Underground. I should watch it, but I don't. I'll catch highlights occasionally, but that's it. And things like this make me like, man, I should go back and watch some of those.
Yeah, I think it's available on Netflix, so I have to go back and check that. I think it's available.
Yeah. I think you're right.
At least the first couple of seasons. Yeah. So Omega was able to eventually hit the one winged angel for the 1, 2, 3. And got the pin in the dream match. He got the win, and then while celebrating, Pentagon's laid out in the ring. The lights,
the technical glitch, right?
Yeah, the lights go out. They were saying, "Hey, first time show, there's going to be glitches." There was an extended period of darkness. But the lights come back on. Omega's still in the ring. Pentagon laid out on the ground, and then he gets up, lays into Omega, and he eventually takes off his mask. And who was it?
Y2J.
That's right. The Ayatollah himself.
Incredible, right? I didn't expect him to be on the show,
I don't think anyone expected this.
That was fucking awesome. You know what I'm saying? He hit some moves on a couple of code breakers on Omega, left him laying, and said, "Come see him on the Jericho cruise."
It's just hilarious to me. Like that, it was very obviously just a promo spot so he could promote his cruise, which is just awesome.
But like they're gonna have wrestling on that cruise. They're gonna be wrestling on the cruise boat.
Yeah,
isn't that crazy? Just to think about that.
Yeah. The Young Bucks are gonna be there.
It gets nuts.
There.
A bunch of Ring of Honor guys. Yep, they're gonna have a bunch of matches. Yep,
Ring of Honor versus Impact, right? Isn't that what they're doing? That's nuts.
I think so.
And there was this time where I would have been like, "Fuck that! I don't want to." Who cares about Impact? But not right now, man. Impact is really turning themselves around.
I would have really kind of considered doing that thing, but I think it's right around the same time as TFCon, so
priorities, man.
Yeah, exactly.
You and Pickerton can wrestle, and Harvey _Dent can be there too, wrestling too.
Yep. So it was cool, man. It was cool, exciting to see Jericho, and it was some setup and promotion for the Carnival cruise. But
is he gonna get for that? Do you think?
I don't think so. I'm sure, he says he's got a good relationship with Vince. And so I'm sure he probably gave him the heads up, and he's not under contract. So he's free to do what he wants.
That's true. He's not under contract.
So this was the next match I was talking about that I felt was kind of like under the radar. Okada, of course, anybody's going to say, man, that's a match to watch. But so he was wrestling the villain here, Marty Scurll. But I felt like this match was kind of low key, under the radar, considering some of the other matches that was like announced on the card. So this was pretty much the co-main event. And, Marty impressed me here, man. I think he was trying to break out from trying to be more than a comedy wrestler and showing that he could be taken seriously, like as a heavyweight, wants to break out of the cruiserweight or junior heavyweight division in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, you figure the best way to do that is to take on the most celebrated IWGP champion of all time. So this, I felt this match delivered.
This was my favorite match on the card.
Yeah, it was surprising. I was not expecting it because I mean, I wouldn't have thought this would have gone over as well as it did, but it really, really did. I was very impressed.
I mean, I know like everybody's a Kenny Omega mark, but to me, this was the best match on the card, and I'll tell you, it's probably one of the best 10 matches I've seen in my life.
Nice.
Wow.
Awesome.
To me,
thought that highly of it.
Yeah, this match was everything. Perfect ring work, great story. They, just. Oh, man, it was just awesome. Everything was put together just so well. This match was what you should show a professional somebody that's trying to get into professional wrestling. Like, this is what you need to do to be a wrestler. And then you could show this match to somebody that's trying to get watch professional wrestling. you know, because they're gonna feel for Marty. And then like the end of the match with, you know, the 2 rainmakers in a row, you know, it just, this was beautiful.
I really ended up liking this match too, because I like I said, I didn't think that this was going to be as good as it was, but they were able to tell a good story with it, despite it, again, it being like they've never worked together as far as I know. I don't believe they've had a match before because they're in different weight classes. So it's another one of those that you would never get this match anywhere else. And so then you can tell the story of him trying to prove of Marty Scurll trying to prove that he can do it and he can go and hang with the heavyweights. So he's fighting above his weight class basically, and it was very impressive. Even though it was a very different style of match compared to the one right before it. Like it's very different because that's how Marty Scurll wrestles. It's a lot of kind of joint manipulation and joint kind of, he just focuses on the joints and all that kind of stuff and very specific places, and he does the whole brick in the finger spots and all that kind of stuff, which I dig that they from the very beginning of like the promo, like as they were leading up to this match, he like it was they were all like the naysayers wagging their fingers at him that you can't do this, and he broke all their fingers, and he went into the match and was able to still do it. It was surprisingly good and surprisingly cool, and he's got a good rainmaker himself. I'm glad he didn't win with it, but it was real close. It looked like he was about to win with it.
And like that's the thing, they could have put Marty over because it was a Bullet Club show.
Yeah,
you know, but no, they put Okada over. They did the right thing, but they told such a good story.
It was a good story.
Like Marty trying to get like, you know, the neck crank in.
Yeah, he targeted the elbow of Okada because he was trying to take the Rainmaker out of the equation early on in the match, you know, like
yeah, and like, but like what I'm saying is he couldn't get his hands across for the neck crank.
Oh yeah, he couldn't lock the finger.
They did it. They went to it a couple times, you know, like
really
him selling his back hurting, trying to pick Okada up and shit. Yeah, I marked out this match. This match was my favorite match on the card. Yeah,
just like you said before, Jose, it's all about the ring psychology and telling that story, and this was really a really good case of that, a really good example of how you can do that with a match like this. It was really, really cool, really well done, and 2 people that I really like watching wrestle, but I didn't think I would like them together, and it ended up being a really good match. If unfortunately went a little long from what everyone says, they went overtime.
Yeah, you know, unfortunately, I guess some of these guys, you know, ran over and which left the main event short. But you know, we'll get to that next. You know, but yeah, like you said, you know, there's lots of smart wrestling here, lots of ring psychology, you know, lots of emotion. You know, the underdog basically Scurll trying to basically again show that he can hang, and he showed that he can hang, which is good, you know, because I know New Japan does separate these guys like by weight classes, and in WWE sometimes you see the mixing of it, and only certain guys kind of break through. You know, not everybody's a Rey Mysterio that you know, that where they let them hang with the bigger guys.
Yeah, and they make a much bigger deal of it in New Japan because like that was part of like when the Young Bucks were feuding with Omega and Ibushi. You know, Omega would call them like the best. What was it? Super junior weight.
Yeah, junior division, junior heavyweight tag team. Yeah.
And they're like, we're not the best junior heavyweight tag team. We're the best tag team. You know, so like they use that in angles and shit. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So so this was good, man. Marty, you know, he showed what he could do. He didn't get the win. Okada wound up eventually hitting the 2 rainmakers to put Marty down, but I think Marty turned some heads here and showed that he could hang with the big boys. You know what I'm saying? So Okada gets the win, and I think that was the right decision, like you guys said. You know, former IWGP champions, you know, just coming off a hell of a run with that belt, and so you know they're keeping his stock on high here.
Yeah, I think it's the way it kind of had to end, but they did it in such a way that even in defeat, Marty Scurll still comes out on top. Like he had a hell of a showing with this match. It was really, really good.
They could have like sold it short and did like a DQ or a count out, you know, or some shit like that. But no, they put Okada over clean. Perfect decision.
Yep. And here is where at the point where you kind of started to see the production issues, and it was kind of made slightly apparent if you were paying attention that the show was kind of running short on time. Unfortunately, due to the show being live on pay-per-view, they had a very strict window of time to work with, and some earlier matches on the card, unfortunately ran long. So now, so Okada got the win. They didn't really show much of a celebration for him. They only showed a couple of seconds of him kind of celebrating in the ring, and they were kind of rushed into the entrances kind of for the next match. So this is the main event of All In, and even for the time getting cut short, it did not disappoint. So, we had the team of Rey Mysterio, Phoenix, and Bandito versus the Young Bucks and Kota Ibushi. They're known as the Golden Elite. And again, like I said, they were kind of running short on time. So the entrances seemed kind of rushed here. Each, 3-man faction came out basically together. Young Bucks got a great fucking pop from the crowd. Of course, Rey Mysterio got a lot of love, came out wearing a Wolverine-inspired outfit. That was pretty dope. And, man, once these guys got to the ring, this shit was just like nonstop. Paul, like I remember in the chat, you were telling me it was like basically a nonstop highlight reel, the whole match.
Yeah, you didn't have to cut anything out, and you just let it go, and that's your highlight reel right there.
Yeah, man, crazy. So pretty much a dream match, I know, for the Young Bucks. So basically, this was the main event. No psychology here at all, guys. So there was no rest holds. There was basically no selling. It was basically just spot after spot after spot, but a lot of impressive looking spots, a lot of high paced action. So I don't even think anybody in the crowd was complaining. Like all these guys fucking put in a ton of work, ton of high risk moves, putting everything on the fucking line. Yeah. And giving you pretty much a banger for the All In main event. They kind of pretty much knew that I think they just wanted to end this show with a bang, and
sure did, man.
Yeah, and if they would have had the time that they needed, because I believe the original run time for this match was supposed to be about 28 minutes or so. It just got cut down to 12, so it's a lot of time to cut. But in doing so, you just got nonstop action here, nonstop action.
I usually hate matches like this. I
love these matches
where it's just like car crash after car crash, but this was done well, and I was impressed. Like I know at least Phoenix is on TNA.
Yeah,
yeah. I'd never seen him before, but
I'd never seen Bandito, and I was very impressed with him. Like he did some crazy stuff that I was like that thing that one spot where he just ran across the ropes and then they just need someone in the head. Like that's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd never seen Bandito before either. And so like seeing those two dudes for the first time was awesome.
Yep.
I think maybe part of what made it that much cooler is that they all did have, again, different styles, even though Young Bucks are very kind of high action, high flying, but you have them up against the luchadors who have a very specific style, even though they themselves are very high flying. It created some visual interests with everything. It didn't look like the same spots over and over again. Everything was different and everything looked awesome. Yeah.
And they got down to the wire. A lot of impressive looking spots, like Phoenix hitting like a twisting dive, Matt, diving off the freaking ramp, what I'm saying, which was crazy. Mysterio getting some 619 spots into Matt.
I like that the first time he tried it, like Matt blocked it.
Yeah,
it was him that blocked it, and one of them blocked it, and then just did a move on him. But again, later it paid off later where he was able to get the 619. I thought it was cool, even though I don't really like that move, but I thought they played it off well. And for having still a fan favorite move, like they played it off well, as you would expect in an indie show catering towards wrestling fans. Like they're sure you'll get it, you'll get your 619, but but please, like, come on now, I can stop this or whatever. Like that.
Yeah, for not having a lot of time, they teased you, with it, and they eventually gave it to you, so that was good. Yeah. I liked Mysterio hitting the frog splash too, because the crowd erupted in Eddie chant. So tribute to the late Eddie Guerrero, that was always one of my favorite wrestlers, so I always loved that. Lots of fucking action, man. But then you could kind of hear the referee saying, go home, because they pretty much wrapped up this match within like 30 seconds of the pay-per-view going off the air. So, the Young Bucks and Ibushi delivered a series of moonsaults, and they hit the Meltzer driver to score the win. And basically, again, no celebration. They scored the 1, 2, 3, and literally about 10, 15 seconds later, the pay-per-view went off the air. So quick main event, compared to the other matches on the show. But again, for anybody that might have been watching live or just, caught up after the fact, very exciting way to end the show. And I really wish these guys would have gotten the time that they deserved. But again, a learning experience. And I'm sure that if they do an All-In 2, they're going to learn from all these little technical hiccups here. But great fucking match, man. Great fucking match, in my opinion.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm so happy that they were able to finish it off.
Yeah, and at least you were able to get the finish, and it didn't wind up being a shitty situation where they kind of went off the air before you got the finish.
If that happened, people would have gone ballistic.
Yeah. So at least they did what they could to kind of salvage the situation. You know what I'm saying? So, and I know they had a little post-match celebration. There's clips on YouTube. I watched about an 8 or 9 minute clip. Cody delivering an address, Matt, on the mic, and even Kenny Omega said some words. So pretty cool deal, man. I know it was probably a very special night for everybody that was there in Chicago that got to be in the audience, and I could only imagine how Cody and the Bucks and everybody else that was involved in that production felt in putting that thing together. It was incredible.
Yeah, really, really good, and they had just the right mix of comedy and of good, great, solid wrestling, and stakes and storyline and all that kind of stuff. And then a lot of just things that are clearly catered directly to the smart fan and the longtime wrestling fan and all that kind of stuff. Just little things in there that I thought it ended up making it, like I said, a million times now already, just a really, really fun show. And it was, so just in one of the very beginning kind of interviews, I think it was with Kenny Omega, like they kind of pan back and they see the chick interviewing him was like, her legs are kind of spread out, and then to like, why are you standing like that? Oh, to make you look taller or something like that. Like that's a thing that like they do in WWE all the time. They never address it, and it's a funny joke in general. But if you know that is what they're calling out, like it makes it even funnier that it's comedy, but also comedy directed exactly at the smart fan who knows that it was just everything about the show. Like it was just so much fun. I look forward to buying the Blu-ray when it comes out, so I can have this in my collection and watch this over and over again. I can see popping in just random matches when I'm just going to get like all pumped up and psyched up or whatever. I'll watch that 6-man tag and let's go.
Yeah. Just be like, I want to see a spot fest. I want to throw this on real quick. It's only 12 minutes. Minutes.
Or even that battle royal. That'd be a fun match just to go through and start to catch all the little things that I didn't see the first time around or anything like that. See if I can follow Austin Gunn or Billy Gunn throughout the whole match instead of getting them confused.
So I echo those sentiments. I definitely will cop the Blu-ray, or DVD, however they put this out, whatever format I'm in. I'm all in. I guess you could say.
They're smart enough that they're going to put some really good extras on it.
Like all the being the elite, like that the lead up specifically to this have got to be there, I would imagine, and stuff like that.
If you didn't see the last one before this, you should check it out, Paul.
I will. I didn't watch. I didn't really realize much about it until I was actually watching it. And I'm like, what the hell? They just keep talking about being the elite. What is all this?
It's good stuff, man. It's good stuff. So, I give the show a thumbs up. If you want to rate it out of 5 stars, I'll give them a 4 out of 5. You know what I'm saying? I felt like they did a good job for a first-time production for a self-financed show. And of course, I'm sure they had help with Ring of Honor, as far as the production and stuff like that behind the scenes. But, for being an independent wrestling show, like this, again, like we said earlier, it was something special. So 4 out of 5 stars for me.
Dude, I'd give it 5 out of 5. That's better than we've seen anything from WWE in the past 2 to 3 years.
I can see that. I'd probably give it a 4, right in between. I'd probably go 4.5 on this, only because of the timing issues, and just because the main event got cut short, unfortunately, and not so much that it was the main event, because I still think that was a great match and they got everything in there, but the fact that we kind of just on a straight pay-per-view viewing didn't get to see the going away thoughts and all that kind of stuff, and I think that it's a bit of a missed opportunity that wasn't there. But within the context of what it did, like it certainly would be a 5 there. But if I'm looking at it kind of more objectively, because of those technical things, I'll knock it slightly. But my overall enjoyment was certainly a 5 out of 5.
When's the last time you watched a WWE product and were satisfied like you were?
NXT, bro. That last NXT fucking
I haven't watched NXT, I'll be honest.
That's the thing. Any main roster pay-per-view, you're 100% right. Nowhere even close. But
me and
the
Paul
NXT
always
ones,
that's 3 stars. That's 3 stars. 2.5 stars for this one. The main shows suck. NXT, we're like, fucking the last NXT was fucking dope.
Yeah, if there wasn't the NXT takeovers and stuff like that we've been watching, this probably would be a 5 out of 5. But because there have been such great NXT pay-per-views, that it is now that part is somewhat even the playing field a little bit. So it's one of those that we are still able to thankfully get some really solid matches and solid pay-per-views that are a little bit easier.
I'll have to start
see.
checking it out. I keep saying I will and never end up doing it, but
you can just look up like highlights of like Gargano Ciampa, that alone will get you into it.
Well, when Tim was saying, and I think it might have been on his personal page, something about Pete Dunne, like that he didn't like him or something.
Oh man, Pete Dunne.
I love Pete Dunne.
Yeah,
he's
so
dope.
He said like he was overhyped or something, and so I went and watched, some Pete Dunne highlights, and I like that dude.
Look for. Good. Oh yeah, then actually there's I think it was Takeover. Which Takeover was it? But look for Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, NXT Takeover.
I think it was first Chicago.
I was going to say Chicago.
I think the first one
right there is so good. I think that one I think it might have gotten 5 stars from Meltzer, but it was one of those that
Dave Meltzer
understood. But it was one that there was basically they didn't have to worry about storyline because they were basically spotlighting themselves. For the U.S. crowd, it was right after the UK tournament that they had. So those are the 2 I think finalists in the tournament, and they basically just did a feature on themselves in the first in the first time in the States in an NXT product, and it was such a great match. But they had the benefit of not needing to worry about storylines to work with and all that kind of stuff. It was just them working their ass off and very impressively. So that's one that's worth watching.
I think like I'm one of those fans that unfortunately like the internet got to, because like it's whenever they pull somebody up from NXT, they fuck them up.
They do. It's sad. It's hard to see.
Paul and I talked about it.
So it's like, why do I want to watch them be good when for the next 10 years I'm just gonna watch them be misbooked and killed? And,
So what Ciampa's been saying, he's like NXT. Ciampa's been saying NXT is the pinnacle, and he's not leaving NXT. You know what I'm saying? He's saying NXT is the top brand.
He is such a great heel.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's great because it's true. Like, he's not gonna get that type of run on the fucking main roster. He's just not. He's not. You know what I'm saying? So leave it in NXT where he's getting the most amount of burn, and that brand is getting the most amount of buzz. You know?
Yeah.
So, all right. So good stuff, guys. Thanks for being here with me to break this stuff down. Again, Nick, you went 5 stars on this, right? Paul, 4.5. I went 4. Again, all these guys put in work. My 4 stars is just, you have to kind of take a little away just to the small technical hiccups that they had. But other than that, a great fucking show, especially for first time promoters. And they definitely said they got the bug to do this again. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see it all in the future.
Looking forward to it.
Yep. So before we head out for the night, guys, just let's get some where you at. So Nick, I'll start with you, brother.
You can find me, Nick Brammer, on Facebook, and every Friday night live at around 9, I'm going to say, because last week we were late, on my YouTube channel, MPSP Theater. It's Masterpiece Shitpiece Theater, and we talk about a bunch of nerdy stuff and have a good time.
All right. Awesome, man. Thanks for hopping on tonight.
Thanks for having me, brother.
All right, Paul.
You can find me on Facebook, Paul Chu. I frequent the Realm of Collectors Facebook page, so I'm always commenting there. Otherwise, I'm on the Building Up to It podcast, which is on YouTube on Fridays, starting Friday morning, and on the Bricks and the Dollar YouTube channel. But we are also part of the Cool Table Network as well.
Awesome, man. Awesome. And once again, guys, thanks for hopping on. And we got Hell in a Cell coming up in a couple of weeks. So, Brammer, you're always welcome. Paul, of course, you know we're going to do this. So
I'm preparing to be disappointed.
So hopefully that'll be a quick one.
There's going to be an AJ Joe match in there. Just know that'll be a saving grace for the
saving grace. Exactly.
I hate AJ Styles.
Who hates AJ Styles?
Me. Oh my God! Oh, so we're gonna have to speak about that. We're saying good night. We're saying good night, but we're gonna speak about that. We're gonna put a pin on that. Right. All right. Good night, guys. Good night. All right, guys, I hope you really enjoyed that. And once again, I want to thank Nick Brammer and Paul C for hopping on here with me and having a conversation here with me on Verbally Challenged. And for anybody out there listening, if you're a fan of the show, if you're a friend of mine, if you want to jump on and have a conversation here with me on Verbally Challenged, you're more than welcome. Just reach out to me on social media. You can find me all over at HarikenBx. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Xbox Live, and the PlayStation Network. All over social media at HarikenBx. You could also follow me on Instagram at Diaz4Fitness. All right, guys, some quick shout outs before we head out. Remember to check out Realm of Collectors. We have a website, realmofcollectors.com. We're on Facebook as a group, Realm of Collectors, and we're on Instagram at Realm of Collectors. Pull up a chair to the Cool Table. It's a hub for like-minded podcasts, including Enter the Realm and Breaking the Mold, Mondays and Tuesdays, respectively, on the Realm of Collectors YouTube channel. The only show to watch on Saturday nights, Plastic Fanatics, the late night aftercast on Victory Saber 77's YouTube channel. Those 3 shows are also available in audio format on iTunes and Google Play. The rest of the shows on the Cool Table are Shattercast Uncut, Nerd Rage Radio, Toy Detox, Stasis Lock, Building Up to It, Fresh Communication, Beer and Bolts is 40K, and 8 Weeks. You can find the Cool Table on Facebook, along with links to all these other great podcasts. All right, guys, that's it. That's the episode. Thank you for the download. Thank you for the stream. Thank you for listening. I really, really appreciate it. We'll be back soon, real soon with the next episode. All right, so please take care, stay safe, and peace out.